Happy Sunday, and welcome to Season 3 finale of Dear Black Girl. It's hard to believe that we've run through 6 weeks of inspiring conversations already. What has been your favorite part, Carlene?
Honestly, Brianna, it's hard to choose a favorite moment. Both you and me are new to the Dream Team, so we've been learning so much that I think my favorite part of Dear Black Girl would be my interview with Kalia Ross and her mom. I learned that I can be a leader, and not just famous people can be leaders. I I learned that I can be anything I want to be. Riel, you're a junior member of our Dream Team, and you've been doing such a wonderful job each week. What has been your favorite part about this season?
Thanks, Carlene. I would say my favorite part has been being able to go as a public speaker. Just being a part of Dear Black Girl community, watching my older sister Peyton interview over the last few seasons, I was a bit jealous. I wanted to do it too, but I was just not old enough. But now, even though I'm still not quite there in age, I've been able to bring my excitement to Dear Black Girl. And I know if I keep going forward and learning from all of my friends here on the Dream Team and Coco, I can and will be the best version of me, Brielle.
I agree with both of you. This season has been filled with amazing moments on and off camera. I would say my favorite part has been working with all of you. I've learned so much how to be confident and speak clearly. I'm still working on that. I also enjoyed the guests and the topics that were discussed.
Later today, in our second segment, our entire Dream Team cohort will join us today to chat about all we've learned and become this season. I cannot wait for that segment.
But before we get into that, let's welcome Margelle and Kendall who will lead our first segment today.
Thanks, ladies. We'll see you three back on the screen in a few. Well, let's get this segment started. Kendall, you usually run all of our tech for Dear Black Girl. How does it feel to be on this side of this camera today?
Well, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But it's very appropriate because today we're talking about leaning into our unique gifts and abilities, even when it feels or looks awkward.
Yes, so good. Our guest today is Miss Monia Ashaibi, born in St. Louis and raised both there and in Atlanta, Georgia. Miss Monia has always indulged in a creative lifestyle. What began as just an interest in music and dance eventually grew into a love of expression and creativity in almost every aspect of her life.
She has released music on multiple platforms, danced and choreographed for popular music videos, modeled and acted for commercials and advertisements, and her newest cosplayed with her fellow cosplayer friends, and her newest venture, written a comic book series known as Astros. Through every endeavor, Miss Moya's priorities are to spread positivity, uplift, and motivate people to reach their dreams and share her passion of creativity with others. Welcome to the show, Miss Moya.
Thank you so much. Thank you both very much. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. So, Miss Monia, Kendall and I are so thrilled to have you here today. We're both artists and we both love anime as well, so we really relate to you. What was your art and career journey like to get you to this point?
Well, I would say that my art journey getting to this point has been one that's gone many directions. As you both just said, I've done a lot of artistic things um, pretty much throughout my entire life. I've always loved drawing and things like that, but I never really did anything with it. I've always had a love for anime and comics and different things like that. And this is really the first time that I've done anything along these lines. So it's sort of just something that I took a chance on, and I think that's the fun part about art is just not limiting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I can really relate to that part when you said that you haven't really done anything about it.
Mm.
Because, like, when I draw and I show people, like, I only show people close to me, I'll sometimes show my teachers if I'm comfortable. And one of my friends, they asked me why not post my art up in the school. And I'm just like, I don't know because I don't really want too much attention. I don't know if I'm ready. I still have a lot of things to improve on. And yeah.
I totally relate to that. And I would say, just like you said, like you kind of just have to go for it because you never know. It'll probably inspire someone, and someone will get what you're trying to portray and get across. And then maybe they'll create something from your creation, which is pretty much how Ash Rose happened. It was me starting. Uh-oh, it was me starting as a not too experienced artists, and then a couple other artist friends who were much more experienced than I saw it and were like, oh well, let us help you with this. So you never know how something can turn into a collaboration, or one seed of inspiration can cause more to grow. So definitely just go for it.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Hmm.
In the past, within the Black community, artistic people have been called weird, strange, and different. How do you experience any of this mislabeling? And how do you navigate owning your unique interests and passions?
Well, that is very, very true. Being an artistic person by default sort of makes you stand out from others. It's not always something that is understood, but the most important thing I would say is just doing it because you love it, and just make sure you're not doing it for someone to validate who you are, because your art comes from you. And it's important that you do it because you love it, and it just makes you feel good, and it just makes you feel happy. And in addition to that, by doing your art, it can totally take your mind off of whatever negative things anyone else has to say. And you never know, maybe they might see you and be like, on second thought, I kind of want to try that too. So
Yeah, I totally agree because I'm like, when I do art, I try to like express it like in many different ways.
Mhm.
So I remember like creating a piece like when I was sad. And also, when I'm happy at times, I tend to draw like a lot of flowers and so on. And my friends would say, like, oh, you've made a mistake right here.
Mm,
And I try to tell them that in art, there's no mistakes,
mhm.
it's just art. So there are so many types of artistic expressions. How did you develop your art style?
Well, I would say it's definitely still something that I'm developing. Art wise, I learned a lot about, I guess, realism and different styles when I was in college. But as far as drawing comics and things like that, that's definitely something that's still in the process of being developed. Again, I do have my friends who who illustrated Ash Rose, the final images, Josh and Lee, and just learning from them and seeing how they go about developing their art style helps me to then be like, oh, I think I'm starting to get a solid understanding of how Ash Rose should look consistently. So yeah, it's definitely just trying different things and keeping it going. And yes, ma'am.
because I'm still developing my art style. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know my art style yet because
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch tutorials and then I'd be like, oh, I want to try this out.
Right.
And to be honest, my weakness in art is realism. I'm more of like a cartoony anime person.
Yeah.
When it comes to drawing realistic things, it's always a struggle. There's just so much I need to learn.
Yeah. Wow, we sound like opposites. Because in cartoony stuff, I mean, I'll have to put up the original drawings for Ash Rose someday so everybody can see because they look a little they look a little questionable because that's definitely not my strong suit. But definitely just stay encouraged to try everything, and then you're gonna start to see different consistencies in the way that you draw, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I see it now. That's who
Yeah.
I am as an artist. Yep.
Great. Let's talk about the comic. Margella and I read it and we really enjoyed it. What were your inspirations for this comic?
My inspirations for this comic, there were quite a few. So the first inspiration I would say is the actual world that we live in. As we know, as we all know, there are good things and bad things in the world that we live in. And I've been inspired by having to just take as much notice to the good things as I can. That's pretty much what keeps me going whenever there's hard times happening in my life. And also, my family inspired this story, and different, again, struggles that I've gone through inspired this story, and just wanting to show people that through the hard things we go through, that they're not alone, and that also when you go through hard times you don't have to stay there. You can learn from them, but eventually you can realize, wow, this was all for a purpose, and now I can take this lesson and grow to be even stronger and help someone else that's going through something difficult.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because like when I read the comic,
Hmm.
in comics, it's just fantasy, nothing about real life, but I noticed like there are some things that connects to the real world,
Yeah.
especially with your father and with like when Ash went to the outside world
Hmm.
with how her friend that she thought she had made.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that connects to real life in this comic, and that's really good. So
Thank you.
uh, in what ways does your own life relates to Ash's life?
So, like I said before, it definitely does have some inspirations when I think about my family. So, as you said before, I actually lost my dad some years ago, probably about 4 years ago, well, 2017. And he was my best friend. And I really wanted to try to portray that, that relationship, that bond that we had in the story, but also show people that through loss, you can sort of come to terms that it's not necessarily the end. um, it is difficult, but there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from that type of hard situation to go through. Also, I relate to Ash in that, growing up, like we said before, usually when you're that artsy fartsy person in school, you're a little bit different sometimes than everyone else. So I definitely, have spent a lot of time as an outcast, just trying to figure it out and feeling like I'm stepping into the real world for the first time and trying to find my footing and find how to make my own way in this reality. But it's kind of like a video game when you're living life. It's like you go through life and you level up, and the levels get harder, and as you go through the levels you gain different points, and you take those points and new skills that you gained and you take them to the next level. So it's just about, just learning from every single day and just being a better you each day.
Yeah.
So I would say that's another way that I relate to Ash. Hmm.
Cool. Um, what were some of the struggles you faced illustrating that Astro series? How did you overcome them?
Well, the, I guess, biggest, most obvious struggle would be the fact that, again, I don't illustrate cartoons or comics or anything like that. So I had to draw to the best of my abilities every single page. And one of the artists lives in Philadelphia, the other lives in Virginia. So it was this like cycle of emails that we were just going through trying to get the drawings just right. So we're just bouncing pictures to each other and trying to get it to the proper place. That definitely was the hardest thing, but I think eventually we definitely got it. Well, of course, we got it to a point where we really like it. And, but yeah, just not being as skilled of an artist as I would like to be was the hardest part for sure. But I would also say that to say if there's anybody that, feels like maybe your art isn't where you'd like it to be, just do it anyway. Because again, you never know like who can see it and be like, I love what you did here. I think I can contribute to it to make it what you're picturing. Yep.
Yeah. So I remembered like what you say, you're not that type of a cartoony art
Yeah.
person, but more to like realism.
Hmm.
And it will be the same for me if I'm doing like a book based off like realistic things.
Right.
Drawing like someone would be very difficult for me because the eyes are always gonna be so close to the nose. The nose are always gonna be way up. So
Yep.
it'll be a real struggle. So what
Yeah.
is the message you want Ash Rose to share with the world, particularly Black girls?
I want Ash Rose to teach people that they are capable of living through dark times because dark times are not something that any of us can escape. It's always going to be something that you're challenged with, and it's up to you to decide whether you're going to try to learn from what you're going through and push through it. To Black girls specifically, I really want to show that you don't have to be what the world tells you have to be, if that makes sense. I just remember growing up, I always felt like I told you guys before, sort of outcasted because I found myself trying to fit in with these different types of groups and the cool people and whatever. And the more I did that, the more I was outcasted, and it just didn't make sense to me. So it wasn't until I really started just being myself and living in my truth. And if someone thinks I'm weird, it's like, well, why would I want to be normal?
Yeah.
So I want Black girls to really own who they are, no matter what that looks like.
Yes. I really can relate to that part because in school it's like a whole social system, cool
It is.
kids and so on. But to be honest, it's like I totally ignore that system. It's like
Hmm.
I'm just me. I don't want to be cool or anything. I'm just me.
Yes.
And again, for like, because I do art in school,
Hmm.
and everyone would be like drawing, oh, like, butterflies, rainbows, and all those
Right.
things. And I'm like, I should try something else.
Hmm.
Like, because I have a lot of fears and so on. So
Hmm.
I decided to like draw my phobias, and
Wow.
everyone's like, what? What is she
Wow.
doing?
That's so awesome.
Yeah, but it came out, to be honest, it came out awesome.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm going to turn it in tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Well, best of luck on that. And that sounds really incredible. There's actually this artist, gosh, I wish I could think of his name, but if you look up an artist um, who, if you type in artist who draws his fears, you should be able to find him on Google Images. But he draws the most beautiful pictures. So he'll take a fear and symbolize it as like an owl or something, and it'll be this massive owl, and then he'll draw himself like this small, and he's just standing up to it, and he does it with all these different things, and he makes it a black and white grayscale type of thing with like a small light coming from it, and it's just gorgeous. So you definitely reminded me of that, and I think you should definitely keep doing that. You're definitely onto something. Frank Cross. I don't think that's the name. I'm looking at someone's comment. I wish I could remember his name.
I'll look it up later.
Yeah, please do.
Um, I liked how in Falter, when Astros went to the outside world, you
Mm.
showed how she was naive without making her seem stupid or arrogant, which is something comic book writers might struggle with when creating their characters. What was the process in telling the story in that way?
Well, so it's interesting because when you think about the world that we live in, and you think about someone who may live in, say, I don't know, like a third world country, or like Amish person, or someone that's not in, the everyday world that we know. Typically speaking, or generally speaking, people would probably make the assumption that they're not as, um, I don't want to say intelligent, but not like up to speed as we are, because we're here and there. We have the internet, we know all these different things. And it's not necessarily true. I don't know if you all have ever seen the videos on YouTube. There are these men in Thailand where they actually build architecture with their hands, and it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. They don't really speak verbally, and so someone off the bat might think, well, wow, they aren't smart, but it's like your average person in America could not do that, you know? And so even though they're not a part of the everyday world that we know, they have their things that they've learned, and they're equipped with different skills and knowledge. So I say it's the same with Ash. Even though she's not a part of the everyday world, she has been equipped with different knowledge that her parents have taught her. So she, although she can't, tell what's going on in certain social circumstances or social conversation, she's a little slower on that side. She can feel different energies, and she can tell right from wrong, things like that. So, and she also is very in touch with her spirit and who she is, and staying true to who she is, which is a really important skill to have, especially when you're in the midst of darkness or facing a world that we live in. So,
Yes, because
mhm.
I've read books, watched videos, and coming from like Jamaica, because I was not born here. I just moved here like a
Wow.
year ago.
Wow.
Coming from Jamaica, I can see that like some people think that just because you're not from the same place as them means that you're different. But it actually doesn't mean that you're different. We're all one. We're just born in different cultures and so on. We're just all the same person.
Yes. And that is so wise what you just said. We really are just one. It's like a huge body of life that we all make up. And we're, that by default just causes different differences inside of each of us, but we're like different reflections of the same life force.
Yes.
Hmm.
So moving back to you, we learned that you enjoy cosplay, which for those who don't know is dressing up in costumes and sometimes even attending events as a character you love. I can imagine many of our viewers wondering why that is even a thing, but it's super interesting and you enjoy it. So, what advice do you have for a young girl who is into artistic forms of expressions that are not celebrated by her family or community?
um do it because it's fun. Do it because it makes you smile. It's funny because cosplay is actually, and I forgot to say this when you asked me about inspiration, cosplay was one of the first things that helped me to write Ash Rose, because I had reached a point where I was so sad. I was so sad about my dad and different things like that. And my dad really wanted me to be as happy as I could. So here was my attempt at trying that, regardless of what was actually going on. So I sat and I thought to myself, well, what things actually make me happy? What makes me smile? And I thought about my first time cosplaying. I thought about my first time at a convention. And then I was like, well, what would happen if I like cosplayed as an original character? And then from there, it turned into, okay, let's give this character a name. Let's write a story for her and things like that. So just continue to do things that make you happy, and you never know where it can take you.
That's great advice. We live in a culture where many girls are using anime and social media and other forms of art to escape the weight of their daily lives. How do we remain anchored in reality while also being unapologetic about our play?
Um, make your play your reality, is what I would say. What I mean by that is, yes, you should take your life seriously, but don't take it too seriously to where you're not living in the moment, to where you're not present and having fun and doing things that fill yourself with joy each day. If you want to cosplay, like, that's play, but it can also be a part of your life. If you want to do art, that sort of becomes who you are after a while. So then it's play, but it's a part of your reality. So just continue to do things that make you smile, that fill your soul with joy, and play and reality will become synonymous. Make your play your reality. Reading the comments, yes. So definitely just do what makes you happy, and I promise it's just going to make your reality happy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just like what you said right there.
Oh, thank you.
I also like your Naruto poster.
Thank you. It's by an artist named Richie True. He is amazing, super, really, really talented.
So you are doing so many amazing things. How can our viewers stay in contact with you?
My Instagram is at Monia Ashibi. That's Monia and then Ashibi. If you are interested in seeing anything cosplay related, you can look up on Instagram at You Don't Even Cosplay, one word, of course. If you're interested in Ash Rose, you can go to www.ashrose.com, and it's Ash with the E. I've got a copy here. So
Ooh.
ashrose.com, and that's pretty much me. Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
Thank you.
and I'm so sorry, I forgot the email. The email is moniaashibi@gmail.com or info@ashrose.com. That's it.
Thank you for joining us today, Miss Moria. Seeing you has reinforced our ability to express ourselves in art. Thank you for pushing the boundaries so girls like Margelle and me are free in our art.
Oh, it has been a pleasure. You both and all of the girls, a part of your Black girl that I've met today, have inspired me so much. So thank you all.
Thank you for coming for coming on and giving us like amazing advice and telling us about yourself and the Astros series. And this was such a great segment, Kendall. I feel inspired. And now to close out our season, let's welcome our entire dream team to the screen. Each of these girls has played a pivotal role in making this season a success. Also, let's welcome our leader Cordelia A. Fanny.
Hi, girls. Excellent, excellent job. Can we just do snaps and claps for that last segment? It was so good. Truly, truly enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Miss Monia. Yes, Brielle. We are so excited. It is season 3, our very last episode. And I am so honored to be on this screen with these nine missing one dream team members who are just phenomenal in every way imaginable. They have literally run this show this year, from the tech to the practice of sending thank you notes for every donation and for every guest who comes on. These girls are doing research, they're doing their best. I mean, they're also in school, they also have after school activities, and so they're staying focused on top of everything that they do for Dear Black Girl. And so, girls, from my heart to yours, I just want to snap it up for you. This is what we do. We do snaps on Saturdays when we meet, because you have been incredible. You have made this season seamless. And I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I said to you that this year we were going to, an added bonus of being a part of the Dream Team was going to be that you would have access to a scholarship. Generous donors who continue to support Dear Black Girl have made this possible. And so we do have a scholarship announcement today, but I'm going to hold off for just a few more minutes because I really do want to talk with you all and kind of get with you about how you're feeling about DVD as we come to the end of season 3. So let's start with our youngest and most eager Dream Team member, who is Brielle. Darling Brielle is only 7 years old, and our dream team begins at 9. But since she was about 6, I guess, she's been on us about allowing her to join the dream team. And she was adamant that she could do the job. And so we gave her a few opportunities this year, and guess what? She did it. She excelled in every assignment that we threw her way. Brielle, do you have any advice for girls who keep hearing that they're too young to participate in their interests?
Yes, Coco. I'd say to keep your eyes on the prize. Be persistent and keep practicing and doing what you love. There will be restrictions. You know that you're not old enough, not tall enough, but you just gotta keep moving forward in life. Look at me here on Dear Black Girl with great friends, mentors, and family.
Yes, that was so good. That was fantastic. And exactly what you said. Look at you, because you have done it and you have done it well. Thank you, Brielle. It's been such a joy to have you on the show this season, and we can't wait to be with you again next season. Now let's move on to our most improved Dream Team leader this season. I think everyone on this screen can agree that Audrey brought her A game this year. Audrey has impressed all of us on and off camera because we always have a session on Saturdays before our shows where we talk privately about concerns. We rehearse, we do so many other things, and Audrey always brings her best. And I'm so proud of her. She is so tenacious. Her follow through is amazing. And we are always, always, always rooting for her. So tell me, Audrey, what has been your biggest lesson learned this season?
I learned that I should always stand up for myself and others. I should always be confident, and I shouldn't let people take who I am. I should always be myself and don't imitate other people. I should love my skin color and love how God created me.
Beautiful, so beautiful. And those are all wonderful things to know as a young girl. I know there's so many people watching, myself included, where it took us years to discover our unique beauty. And when I say beauty, I don't mean your physical appearance. I don't mean just being pretty. I literally mean that thing, that inner substance that God has given each and every one of us. It took us so long to discover it, and not just discover it, but to believe it. And for Audrey and for people like you girls at your age to start to go on that journey of believing what God says about you, that is so huge. That is so major. It is going to keep you from so many pitfalls that people fall into because they make decisions based on not knowing who they are. And one thing about Dear Black Girl is we are an identity fortifying community. When you leave our organization, you will know who you are. You will know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You will know that everything that is strange or peculiar or weird about you is so intentional for why God has put you on this earth. And so, Audrey, for you to embrace all of that at such a young age, I think you're 9, right? Are you 9 or 10? 9. Yeah, 9. Yeah. Okay. Audrey's 9. At 9, I don't even think I could spell identity, but for you to know what your identity is in Christ and for you to go on the journey of believing it, I am so, so proud of you. All right. So now we are going. I love this girl, by the way. The next person we're talking to, I love her. I love her. We are going to be talking to a Dream Team member who Audrey actually invited to the Dream Team. So she's not only a wonderful Dream Team leader, she's also an evangelist for Dear Black Girl. And Audrey brought her friend, Carlene. Carlene, this is your first season with us. Tell us in one sentence, what has this season been like for you?
I would say that Dear Black Girl has boosted my confidence. Thank you, Audrey, for inviting me.
Oh, I love that. And you have every reason to be confident, Carlene, because you are so sharp. You are so brilliant. Carlene is on top of everything. Listen, she'll tell me, she's like, this is not here. This is wrong. I think you meant to say, she'll check you in a minute because she's so bright. And so you have every reason to be confident. And I pray you never lose that confidence and that you find its security in God and who God says you are. And this next young lady who is so wonderful, I'm so glad that she joined us. She joined us mid-season. She lives in a different state. I think it was snowing in her state last week. But she has been so patient and kind as we got her settled in. And that person is Brianna. Brianna, you are new to the Dream Team this year. What advice would you give to a young lady who is looking for a sisterhood of girls, but doesn't know how to take the first step?
The first step is to say yes to new challenges. You should be willing to try something new and meet new people, even if you are afraid. Be yourself. You can make new friends and meet other girls who like you and accept you just the way you are.
Come through, Brianna. Spoken like a true Dream Team leader. I love that. That's so wonderful. Say yes to new challenges. Isn't that hard, guys? We talked about fear this year and we talked about doing it afraid. And it's not easy. You know, people will get online and on TV and they're like, oh, feel the fear and do it anyway. Easier said than done. You know, we need to practice doing it anyway. And I've watched you girls do that all year. I've watched you do it last year. Every time there's a new challenge, every time I ask you to do something that's uncomfortable, you say yes. And I appreciate that. And one thing that I think I've taught you, and I hope I've taught you, is you're also allowed to say no. No is just as sacred as yes. There are going to be some seasons in your life when you just have to say no. No doesn't mean that, you know, you're not interested or you don't want to participate. No just means it's not the right decision for me in the season. And every time you say no to something, you're actually saying yes to something else. So if someone says, can you come outside and play? And you say no, you're saying yes to staying in the house and spending time with your family. If a friend of yours says, do you want to go to this party? You know, they'll have drinks, they'll have this. Do you want to go together? And you say no, you're saying yes to keeping yourself out of trouble that could potentially haunt you for the rest of your life. You guys have seen where kids have made one decision at the age of 16 and it has cost them their entire future. And so when you say no, sometimes, all the time actually, you're saying yes to something else. So awesome job, Brianna. All right, now let's talk with some of the OGs, the original girls. I want to start with Alexis, who is one of our older Dream Team members. Alexis, tell me, how has this program impacted you?
So I would say that this program has impacted me because it helped me come out of my comfort zone and talk to people in a way that helps me with my life choices. It helped me learn to communicate and learn a lot about people's life and how some black and brown girls struggle and deal with their own life problems. It helped me learn how to become happier with myself and become a better person with a better personality.
I love that. That's so good, Alexis. Every time I look at Alexis, I see myself because she's my niece. She looks just like me when I was younger. But I love that. I love that I get to have this experience with you. And I thank you for honoring me enough to respect just who I am in your life and to come on this show and to participate in the way that you have. This next person that I'm going to talk about, this is so cool, guys. So, my sophomore year of high school, I I was the president of an organization called Sister. And I love reading, I love writing, but I always hated math. Any math haters here? Ugh, I hated math so much. But then I went to, I think it was geometry, 10th grade or something in the 10th grade. And I had a teacher named Ms. I call her Gigi now, but we'll call her Miss Gigi. Miss Gigi or Miss Washington. And when I say she was young at the time, not that you're not young now, Gigi, you still are, but she was young at the time. I was 16 or 15, and I was enamored by her. When they say representation matters, it matters. She was a black woman. She was no nonsense. She was gorgeous. I was enamored by her. She is the reason why I wanted to be a teacher. She's the reason why I went to Hofstra and majored in education, because of Miss Gigi. And we've stayed in contact over the years, and she has just been such an anchor in my life. And when I met her, she didn't have any kids. She was young, you know, she was doing it. And now she has a 10-year-old daughter, 12? I don't know, Michaela, you correct me. Daughter. And her daughter is in Dear Black Girl. She is a part of our dream team. So to see this generational impact of Giselle impacting me, influencing me to become the woman that I am today, because I am not a teacher in a classroom, but I am very much an educator, to influence me in that way. And then for her daughter to come into my program to be influenced by me, it is wild. And so I am so grateful to God for the way that He orders our steps. And for this little girl who looks just like her mama, is so stunning, Michaela, who has joined our dream team. Michaela, thank you for just being here with us. You are such a joy. What has been the most joyful part of DBG for you?
There have been so many joyful parts of Dear Black Girl, but the most joyful part for me, in my opinion, would have to be meeting all the new guests and interviewing them. Hearing all their amazing stories and all the great answers they give to all of our questions are delightful to hear. The advice that our guests give has helped me improve my life for the better, and I'm so grateful to be a part of Dear Black Girl.
And we are so grateful to have you a part of us. I'm so thankful for you. This next young lady, I mean, just superb. I will never, ever get over her and just her brilliance and her excellence. When we started Dear Black Girl in 2020, none of us knew what we were doing. Me and Kendall were just kind of like, I think we should be doing something for Black girls. And Kendall's like, okay, yeah, maybe. And we created this program and we gathered these girls. I don't even know where you guys came from, but I'm so happy you're here. And we had a meeting and I said, I don't know if I said or you guys said, you know, it'd be great for us to stream this, to put this on a platform for other people to watch. And we said, great. And we were like, well, let's find people that we can talk to, other Black and brown women who are doing unique things that we are interested in. And let's see what they say about life. And so we did. And we created this conversation series. And I said, so girls, who's going to talk to the guest? And everybody was like, not it, not it. not it, not it. And everyone said no. And there was one girl who was like, I'll do it. And she was nervous and she had no clue what she was doing, but she did an amazing job. And this young lady set the pace for every interviewer that came after her. And you guys know the original DVG interviewer, Miss Morgan. Morgan was phenomenal, is phenomenal. And she continued to study and just do her very best at everything that we gave her to do. And so she was the first to lead an interview. She set the pace. Morgan, can you give some advice to girls who may be allowing fear to stop them from becoming more of who they are?
Of course, Coco. But first, I want to say that there's going to be a limit to how much fear you have. But being afraid is a good thing because it means that you care. It means that you know that you want to do amazing at this thing. So when you do something about that fear, that's what counts. When I found out that I could interview for Dear Black Girl, I was like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? And I'm like, okay, let me put God first. Let me pray about this. Let me get some support from my family and friends. And I found out that maybe I should just give it a try. And I did. So my entire goal was to just inspire one girl at a time. And I feel like as I keep getting closer and closer, I'm achieving that goal. So my advice is to just lean on God, lean on your family and your friends, and then in the heat of the moment, you'll find that this was the thing for you to do. This is the moment that you show off your talents.
That's so cool. And if your goal is to inspire one girl, you've inspired me. So mission accomplished. And I pray that you will continue to accomplish that goal as you grow older. You are phenomenal in every way. You know how I feel about you. The next girl, this girl. If we had a Miss Congeniality on Dear Black Girl, it would be Peyton. Am I right? Everybody. Yes. Peyton is, she's such a great support. She is such a kind human being. She's so thoughtful. She's so mindful. I love her. I love you. You are great in every way. You are the glue to our little team here, and we appreciate you so much for all that you do and how you just honor each and every member of our dream team. I wanted to ask you, Peyton, can you tell us why supporting one another is so important?
Firstly, Coco, thank you so much for the kind words. Supporting one another is so very important because you never want to feel alone. I go by mantra of treating people how I want to be treated. So loving on people, encouraging people, and just remembering that people are in my chemical makeup. I love to help, I love to encourage, and I very much love to remind people to never, ever, ever, double, ever, let their light sit. Keep shining, my queens.
I love it. Thank you, Pei. That's so wonderfully said, and you are so wonderfully you. Now on to this wonderful girl who moved to the United States a year ago. She moved in the middle of a pandemic. School was closed. Everything was virtual. She had no friends that I'm aware of, and we became her friends. Her family is phenomenal, and she stuck like glue, and we are so glad that she did. Margelle, we have seen you grow exponentially. I mean, your growth has been incredible, and we are so proud of you. You know what's so funny? I feel like you took my job because I was the nurturer of the group. I was kind of the mama bear of the group. And then Margelle came in and she's like, I got it. And she nurtures everyone. She's so warm. She's so thoughtful. She's so supportive when the girls are having trouble with, words or context or anything. She's the greatest cheerleader. She's just wonderful in every way. And we've seen you grow in your scholastic work, your artwork, your confidence. What has been the most satisfying part of Dear Black Girl for you, Margelle?
Well, Coco, the most satisfying part is spending time with the DBG members. You have all helped me to recognize myself as a special young lady, and I am very grateful for that. I see each girl, and of course you, Coco, as family, and I will continue to encourage and support not only the DBG members, but other girls as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my gal. We couldn't do this without you, and we're so thankful that you're here. And now, finally, last but certainly not least, to my co founder, Miss Kendall. Kenny, did you have any idea when we had that phone call last year that we would create a program that would be seen by thousands in over 10 countries and have over 45 speakers today? It's been a beautiful journey, and we had no clue that we would be able to serve this many girls in this way. But we just said yes. We said yes to what God was doing in that moment, and He ordered our steps. What has our DBG journey taught you about the importance of saying yes, even when you feel unsure of your capabilities?
My GPG journey has taught me to say yes, even if I'm unsure of my capabilities, because it ended up being something that was fun and empowering that I look forward to every year.
Same. I look forward to it too. I'm so thankful to have had this opportunity to speak with you all. I'm more grateful, though, that everyone gets to see all of you together. Oftentimes we split you up, and sometimes we have girls on the show, girls not on the show. And so it's been really joyful for me to chat with you all on the screen. I am so thankful to each and every one of our viewers, our viewing audience. You are so loyal, and we are so thankful for you being a part of the Dear Black Girl community. Thank you for every comment. Thank you for every email, every text message, every phone call. Thank you for finding us in the summertime when we're not on and figuring out what's going on. I've had people calling like, what's going on with Dear Black Girl? We're taking a break. We do seasons. And so I'm just so grateful that this is such a highly anticipated series. And we pray to be back with you in 2022 for season 4. And it has been a joy. It has been a joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are grateful, truly, truly grateful. So now to the part that everyone's been waiting for. Is anyone feeling anxious? Anticipation, anticipation. Okay. All right. So the recipient of the very first Dear Black Girl Dream Team Scholarship, she was voted in by her peers. She received the most votes and was chosen because she has had the most positive impact. This girl has been supportive of everyone. She's very kind. She is generous. She's a courageous leader. When I saw that the girls voted for this person, my heart was so glad because I 100% knew that she deserved the scholarship. And it warmed my heart to see that her peers knew as well. So the recipient has been voted in because she has exemplary character, and we couldn't be more proud of her. The winner of the very first Dear Black Girl Scholarship is, drumroll please, my gal! Yay, Margelle! We are so proud of you. You have been, that's her mom screaming in the background. Mel, we are so excited for her as well. We are so thankful. Listen, this was a heated race. It was intense. Margelle won by 1 vote, and there was a runner-up. There is a runner-up, and so we have decided to do a smaller scholarship for this runner-up, and the runner-up is Peyton. Yes. So literally, Margelle won by 1 vote. And so we just knew we had to extend the scholarship and make sure that Peyton was also celebrated. So Margelle and Peyton, congratulations. Margelle, you are such a strong leader. Like I said, you took my job. So now I barely come to rehearsal. I text Kendall and I'm like, you guys run it for 30 minutes. I'll be there later. Like, they're so self-sufficient. They're so empowered. Margelle, congratulations. Is there anything you want to say, Margelle?
Well, Thank you, Coco. First of all, I'm stunned. Like, literally, I'm stunned. But I am honored to have been selected as the recipient of this scholarship. Thank you all for voting and supporting me. Your generosity means a lot to me. And with this scholarship, I plan to donate to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital because it saddens me to see that there are some children out there who don't have family to like support them, who doesn't really have anything, and so I just wanted to donate to them.
Remarkable. Do you guys, first of all, I could cry. To our viewers, do you understand why I'm so impressed with these girls? Okay, she just won a scholarship and she's telling me already she has chosen what charity that she's going to donate some or whatever she decides, some of her money to. That remarkable, remarkable. And that's exactly why you won. Peyton, our runner up, our queen, our Miss Congeniality. Do you have anything that you want to say?
Well, okay. Crying. Well, I want to thank all of you guys because I wouldn't be here without you guys. And also, congratulations to Miguel. I'm really happy for you, Miguel. Marcel. Well, I decided the charity I was going for because I'm an animal lover. So I decided to give pet like money to the pet charity because I was so happy about pets and stuff, and I also wanted to do another one and give it to Dear Black Girl because Dear Black Girl is an amazing platform and I'm so happy to be on it. So yeah.
Well, let me just say this. If any of your parents are ever kicking you out, I'll adopt all of you. Every single one of you. All 11 or 12 of you. I'll take you all. I'm so proud of you girls. You have done a wonderful job this season. Kenny, if you can take everyone off, except for Margell, who will do our closing, and then we'll go backstage and we'll celebrate a little more, okay? Thank you for joining us, friends. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, holiday, New Year. Thank you.
Well, everyone, we've come to the very end of our Dear Black Girl Season 3. If this season has impacted you in any way, please continue to view and share it. You can find all of our episodes on the Daughters and Vessels YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We wish you all a very happy holiday and a blessed new year. God willing, we will be back in 2022 with Season 4. Be well.